Hello, everyone. This is Holly with What the Stars Say. I've been to create the weekly forecast blog, and it hasn't been going as normal because I think this week we're all trying to define the new normal and work with the situations we have. Besides switching to being fully remote, I'm actually um, only where I'm at temporarily talking about the more mundane personal when we're all dealing with bigger than normal issues. So I wanted to do a video to kind of make up for the fact that when I went to put it in blog format, it wasn't really working. And I also wanted to just go live just to get this done and knock it out because just because things are hectic, I don't want to leave people hanging or anything like that. So I've got a whiteboard. I think I just smudged it when I set up, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So there's a few things going on this week that are important to know, not just in a day by day sense, but the overall energy that we're dealing with at this time. Um, as above, so below. Things are quite normal here on Earth, and things aren't quite normal in the cosmos either. We're dealing with a lot of cycles and transits ending and new beginnings. As we'll see here, I have the current chart of the moment, what the sky looks like right now as I record this here in the middle of the United States of America. So I'm going to go into that a little bit. But with these major shifts, there's things that we experience collectively, but we also experience things personally. And one big shift we're having right now is Saturn going from Capricorn into Aquarius. And I want to talk a little bit about how this affects us because I think that this is one of those transits that when people say what's going on right now, this is really what's going on right now. So I want to begin this week with looking at what's happened with Saturn. If we could just take a quick look at the chart of the moment here, we have more manifestation powers. We can create new beginnings and change in our life, which is really wonderful at this time. But what I want to point, and now we have Mars and Saturn moving from Capricorn, and they're at 0 degrees over in Aquarius. So this is a major shift. Saturn is a very influential planet in our life, and it goes in cycles. I made a note on exactly how I want to break this down to explain this. So Saturn is in each of these, areas, these houses and everything for 3 years. So for it to go all the way around and go through all 12 zodiac signs, that's about 46 years. So that's our collective, you could say, Saturn transits. Now, we've also, a lot of people have heard of a Saturn return. I'm going to explain what that means. So from the time you're born, so from like 0 to 7 years old, you have your first Saturn aspect. And what this is every 7 years, Saturn makes an aspect to your position to your natal sun, and then it creates a closing square to your natal sun 7 years later. So that's 28 years. On the 29th year, about approximately, is when a person experiences their Saturn return. So Saturn has finished its cycle of aspects, okay? I'm saying this to you because you are experiencing a Saturn shift as well too. And Saturn is known as Lord of Karma, Father of Time. And at this time, Saturn is making a shift, but it's also asking you to make a shift. And some people are going to be shook at this time, and some people are going to be calm and even possibly elevated. And how this is playing out is we have big are having different struggles at different, right now. For example, there is a 23% unemployment rate. They're expecting that to go up to 30%. Um, we're looking now at like only essential workers are getting up and going through the old normal of going to work each day. But we have to consider that these essential workers are in essentially low paying jobs and they're not being protected. Um, how happy are they that they have to go to work for lower pay to provide essential services while everybody else stays home? So, will we identify those jobs as more important? Um, will we support those people as they go through this more? How will that change? Will they riot? Some people are protesting and walking out on the job because they feel it's unfair, and there is still that. power of the people energy here, where people don't want to take it right now. So it will fall differently, of course, according to when you're born, how old you are, where you're at, and everything in your own natal chart. But overall, we could let's look at like 2012 to 2019 and see kind of what happened in those times and the choices we make and how each of the choices we made at that time brought us to this moment. So, as Saturn has shifted into Aquarius, it's in a dignified position. Um, but with this transition into Aquarius, it's really like an ultimatum, a crossroad. And it's interesting to me because I keep saying, like, we're now trying to find the new normal. Like, we're not going to go back. We can't do that, obviously, unless we're time jumpers. So we have to define what the new normal is. And what this is doing is this transition marks a reset of the status quo. And oh man, I mean, if that's not proof of the connection there, we're definitely dealing with a reset of the status quo at this time. But what Saturn is asking us, Saturn, Lord of Karma, talking about these more collective energies we're dealing with, you have to look at your own Saturn cycles and whether or not you're on the right path. And if you are not on the right path, you'll find that Saturn in Aquarius has a little tolerance for what's not right. Um, it's asking us, the other thing is the themes about this is it's like a shift in loyalty, and perhaps these recent events have been eye awakening to as to who we really value and who we truly owe our loyalty to, our most loyalty to. But it's also looking at themes of detachment to attachments, and that one is just, I mean, very well timed as well too. So we're detaching from the Capricorn qualities of the material and the status quo and reputation, and we're moving past this mindset. This is a time going out with this, and in this new cycle, it's not that way. So as you can imagine, that this shifting into this new cycle is going to be very hard on people who have fixed attached thinking, or they think that we're going to go back to the old normal rather than we're now in a new normal. It'll be very difficult for them. It's going to be far easier for free thinkers and people that are more fluid and can go with the flow and shift with the market. If you have said, "Oh man, I'm not on the right path. I got to correct this really quick." This this transitional time gives you the energy to reinvigorate your life, to reinvent your life, to just break with the losses and go with the flow. It depends on your natal chart, of course, and where you're at with Saturn and everything. But so much depends on how fixed of a thinker you are. Aquarius is a very futuristic, data driven energy and everything, very quirky. So think outside of the box, on this, because we're obviously experiencing the shift. And people that aren't on the right path are going to have to really quickly realign themselves elsewhere. Um, so that is some things that I wanted to say about that part. I feel that it's so important because it's the Saturn Pluto conjunction that really set the tone for everything that we're dealing with right now and created the geopolitical issues, the trauma, the chaotic event, and the economic crisis we're facing. This is going to be a theme throughout the year. It started January 12th, 2020, and it's going to last until 2022. But it hits this kind of crescendo at the winter solstice of this year. So this was something we're all going to be experiencing collectively and personally throughout the year. Um, that was one thing I wanted to say about that real quick. So I feel like we're good there. And that's one of the big energies we're going to. I'm recording this live on Monday night, and this is something really fun to watch here. Okay. And Venus, let's go over to this beautiful area right here. I kind of jumped her ahead a little bit, to be honest, of where she's at, because she's not quite into Gemini, obviously, yet. So, but tonight, Venus is quickly approaching Pleiades star clusters in the western sky. Tonight, the planet is 4 degrees below the cluster. If you watch the pair over the next several days, you can see Venus moving closer over to that seven sister star system, which is something beautiful if you get a chance to go out and look at the night sky. You can look at the night sky in social distance. And it's very helpful, obviously, to get outside. So that is something. Then on Thursday, they'll be the closest, and it almost appear as like Venus is joining the Seven Sister Star Cluster family. So that's something lovely. Some of my, I mean, the internet's wonderful and everything like that, but one of my favorite things for astronomy is the Skywatch that comes in the Paperology resources. The print version, you just pick up the copy at the grocery store or the hardware store or whatever. So that's what we have going on here. To get through the week, Monday, the energy of it, this is so late to the game. So, yeah, I mean, your day is almost done, I would imagine here. So the energy for Monday is that Saturn is reminding us of our limitations, and Mars is reminding us focus on what you can accomplish at this time. So we have some good Mars energy coming in, 0 degrees, like new beginnings, fresh start and everything like that. And Aquarius, marking movement and innovation and work. So that's that quick change and realigning with past, or so much of us, moving from office worker to remote worker, or I lost a job in this field, maybe I could go get a job in this field. We have so much of that shifting right now. So we have Saturn's like restriction limitation, so we might get stuck into what's restricted us and everything like that. But the Gemini moon is squaring Neptune, so it is actually one of those days where instead of having our head in the clouds and daydreaming, we actually want to connect and communicate with others, and that's helpful. On Tuesday, it's so interesting. I've declared Tuesday one of my watch out dates. There we go. Here's our watch out dates right here. 3/31. It's Tuesday, March 31st. How I see this playing out is it's so interesting to me because when I looked at what the moon was doing on this day, it's like, what an emotional roller coaster ride. I think on a personal level, it'll play out differently. On a collective level, it'll be harder. A lot of people this week have Mars and their natal sun squaring off with Saturn. So it's a day where you might have to deal with like more aggression or like a lot more action than you want to, or even aggressive actions by others. So that is something I think we all, need to be mindful of, and it will hit on certain people. Like, this is very general. Everybody has their own personal natal chart, and so it's all bouncing off of that. A lot of us that will be dealing with that energy. So on Tuesday, I think on a personal level, feelings are going to come to the forefront as the moon slides into Cancer. This is my blog job I didn't publish, but Saturn's like putting the brakes on Mars. It's almost like, Mars and this action oriented, this, young kid is like saying, sit down, you're in timeout right now. So all our action kind of comes to a halt. I think that the moon is going to re-stimulate that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, that mess that set all this off that we're dealing with right now. And then it's going to be like, we're going to feel like that anxious, maybe like tween boy, we have all that energy and everything like that. We're going to feel like that anxious boy that's grounded till about Saturday because of the restriction going on with Mars right there. It's not always comfortable. I mean, it's good for new beginnings and like plotting out that new is. Let me see. I'm going to have to pull the screen up here. Sorry, just a second here. I don't even know if it still covers me. As I look this up. Oh, what I want to say, I've looked at it enough by now. What I want to say about Tuesday is that we go into it, right? The moon's been void, of course, so we have, some clear thinking for a second. And then the moon slides into Cancer. And the analogy I was kind of thinking of this one is the moon is coming home in the wee hours in the morning, right before the sun comes up, or as the sun's coming up, going home into Cancer. And throughout the day, it's really incredible everything she's squaring off with. Do I still have that? I just thought I almost gave up. It was ridiculous. Like, square. I don't like you. That's outward expression. Wants to stay in under the covers, like sleep off that hangover kind of thing. Doesn't want to go with Jupiter, Pluto, Chiron. It's not until then there's this really weird Well, it's not weird. I mean, it's not that out of the ordinary. But this harsh aspect to the true node around 11:52 a.m. So, and then later on with the south node. So the moon, doesn't even want to hang out with the nodes. And it's not until the evening, yeah, then it hits off 11:52 a.m. Central, 1:10 p.m. Central, and then around 9:59 p.m. Central, the moon decides that she's okay hanging out in a loving home environment with the moon and the sun, or not the moon. No, the sun's still not allowed. No external. Nothing. It is a roller coaster of the day. So the moon's just like moving over, squaring off this, squaring off the other node. Wait, where would the other node be? Right here. That node, that node. Don't like you. The moon doesn't want to mess with any of it. How I feel this is going to play out is it's a day to watch more on the. It's just a really great day to lay low. It's a great day to lay low. I want to see if I can find my notes because there was one thing I said, and it's more on a kind of like a political level. So let me get to this really fast here if I can. Yeah. So the Mars conjunction with Saturn is limited forward movement, but I feel like it's going to be an aggression to these already broken systems. So the Saturn and Pluto conjunction, everything was about the broken systems, and I feel like with this moon is the other thing I have to keep in mind too is that the United States their natal sign, the sun sign, is Cancer. So and then the moon's at home in Cancer, but doesn't want to hang out with the sun. So I feel like for the U.S., this is kind of a rough and bumpy day on the home front, you know. So we'll see. I see it as a rough day on the home front and a rough day abroad. So I just feel like people would be better off to just lay low as much as possible. It'll play a nice trick on you actually, because on Wednesday we'll all have this kind of change of energy. So if we felt restricted or confused and a bit overwhelmed, trying to find the new normal. On Wednesday, little trickster, we'll have a different vibe. And so that's some good energy to bring forth. On Thursday, we have Saturn, yeah, Mars, Pluto, and Jupiter, some kind of opposition against the moon. So the moon's going to go into Leo and be like, hey, want to show off. And it's butting heads with like that least fun party ever group. And there's some disharmony there. Um, I do think that this is when we'll have this build up on more of the geopolitical level, on more of the world stage level. And then as we get to Friday, we have Venus in Gemini. So Venus has moved over here totally up and everything like that. And then it's trining the action over here. So we've got a nice trine over there. And then the next day, Jupiter conjuncts Pluto. But it also has, we also, Friday and Saturday, we have Mercury opposite Neptune. So to go over through the rest of this chart really quick, this I have actually declared, let's start over here. Watch out dates 4-4, I think that's a big kaboom day. That's where some things are really going to fire off. But we also have 4-4 to 7, and I think it's going to trickle over. So what I've been saying in some of the talks, the last talks I said is we're about to find out, possibly who the big bad wolf is. We have some real. I'm just going to say on the record is I don't think we can fully trust anything or anyone, and while we have Mercury and Neptune and Pisces. I just don't see how that's possible, really. We had the Mercury retrograde there, but we've had some foggy stuff. We've had some miscommunication. But at this point, I feel like there's not enough information. There's not enough answers. We have too many questions. There's too much distrust. And I think in our gut, we know that we just can't fully trust anyone right now. So I want to say don't be deceived. And why I'm doing these four over here on these watch out dates, really don't be deceived. I don't know if you can see that, but really be cautious of hacks. A lot more hacking attempts, a lot more scams. People have already created scams for the stimulus checks, and just be real. Stay calm, stay objective, and really just always consider the source and question the source at this time because The time is too right for deception, and we're already victimized enough without adding to that right now. So as the week goes, what's really going to happen here is this Capricorn stellium party, that least fun party ever, is getting mixed up. But we have 0 degrees here with Saturn and Mars. It's starting fresh with this Aquarius thing. So we have accelerating change with Jupiter and Pluto. We've got these new beginnings here, but unfortunately, we're not there yet. We have, I mean, I'm saying these are watch out dates, and I'm giving 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 days in a row of watch out dates. What I really think is going to happen here with this don't be deceived thing and these new beginnings and the Saturn Pluto, and then these Mars aspects we have, all this whole stuff coming in. There's just so many things playing off each other with Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. What's going to happen is I feel like we're getting closer to figuring out who the big bad wolf really is. If I was able to say that further, I would, because that would be really predictive and awesome. But I think this is multi-layered. There's still more information to come, but I feel like we're getting closer to finding more answers and to find out who the big bad wolf really is. And I think those that get what I'm saying will get what I'm saying there. We're moving from I work to I know. It's really good. So many people are having to shift gears and like reinvent the wheel and everything right now. And I understand it's very difficult, but you do have that universal support to the box right now. With the Venus theme that we have going on here, there's a shift that Venus is to people who are in situations where maybe they were thinking of getting out, maybe it's abusive and they need to get out, and they were stuck, and then everything happened around them, and then they really didn't see a way out. We're moving away. Take that new energy, that new resourcefulness, that new inspiration. If you were just staying with something or someone because of money, that shifted too. And so many of us are looking at wastefulness, extravagance in our lives, ways we could better align with people in the environment rather than nameless, faceless corporations. There's a huge shift going on here for us there too. So there's big shifts with these big shifts. These are major cycles coming in. The Jupiter one was like what was that, like 12 years? These events happening down here were like 35 years. One of them had happened in 500 years. And then some of them are like 2 to 3 year cycles, but they're coinciding with everything else. So it's so much energy and so much change right now. It's really important to stay grounded and get outside when you can. And also just to don't panic, but realize and kind of detach a little bit, realize that the story is still unfolding here. There's a lot of things going on, and we're also using it for innovation. So Uranus and Taurus has caused us to also examine our material resources, but Uranus and Taurus is kind of about innovation in food production and healthcare. We are getting really creative, and I just want to say that I think Uranus is originally ruled by Aquarius, is Aquarius affiliated, and that's like the internet. And telehealth is an area we've been exploring for a while, and now we're in the situation where we have to take off and go. So parents don't necessarily have to leave the home with their sick child, but they get at-home care. And that's that node shift where we're going from work to home with Cancer and Capricorn. So we have all these changes, but we have really wonderful supportive energy in there. So that's the good news. But please lay low on Tuesday. It will be bumpy at home and abroad. It will be a emotional roller coaster ride. Be careful of any scams this weekend. If news comes out, stay objective, trust your gut and everything like that. It's a great time to, take a break from the nonstop news about this and everything, obviously. But just know that we don't know and we won't know until we have a few more things unfold to bring everything out for us. So that is this week in a nutshell. I didn't see anything really specific I wanted to touch on for people personally on Saturday and Sunday, except, try to again, and best wishes to you and to us all as we define the new normal.